Hello everyone, welcome to another video where I show you the progress for the Random Flow GeoNodes edition, and I'll show you a part of the settings that will be for the random panel equivalent in the add-on, which is going to use GeoNodes of course. So for this add-on, I want to keep things simple. I want to keep the properties less in number and also really simple, so anyone can just pick it up and use it. So as you can see here, we have the random panels. We have only these settings to control uh, the random panels for the or random panel details for the ship here. We have the main subdivision, which controls the universal subdivision for the entire mesh, and we have sub D1 and sub D2. The details are actually um, to keep or to create details that are more relaxed and some details that are have higher in frequency or higher details, and this is why we have two layers for the uh, mesh 1 and mesh 2. You can assign a lower subdivision for mesh 2, for example, and this will create less faces with less detail, so more relaxed region. And for example, sub D, mesh 1 sub D has more subdivision level. It will create more detail, and uh, especially and these things gets randomly mixed using the seed value. And you can also control the amount of detail that is put to the source mesh using this detail percentage slider here. So 100% using all the details that is from the layer 1 sub D and layer 2 sub D versus 0 detail, and it's just using just the basic subdivision without the added random paneling. So let's say 50%, and we have two subdivision for layer 1 and one subdivision for layer 2. We can randomize the position and the layout of the panel detail, and also we can toggle this. We have a toggle called more detail. If you click this or activate this, you will have more of those tiny faces that creates the illusion of more details to the mesh. So this is with more detail, and this is with just more relaxed layout. And we can increase the overall detail of this using the main, combining the main subdivision and the subdivision of the layer 1 and layer 2 properties. So there's another control for the offset, but I can't show you that yet. For the offset or uh, the um, the extrusion depth of the faces. Okay. So you can see this and create or randomize through the panel patterns, more detail, and all you need to do is really to just play around with the topology. So more faces in a particular area can create more detail in those areas, much like the original random flow. Uh, when it comes to versatility, the original random flow still wins, although it is non-modular, because the workflow for that involves finished or applied meshes. And with this, you really can touch the geometry of this. Although I will be changing some of the settings for pre-select to actually extract from the faces of this. I think we can extract faces from this. No, it cannot extract GeoNode's faces apparently. So that's the advantage of the original random flow. You can layer other stuff on top of this Gribble detail, but with GeoNodes, you get the modularity, but in order to achieve the layering functionality, you have to use the or basically add the GeoNodes modifiers together, and that can create some problems. Whereas with the original random flow, you can just select, for example, the top faces and not involve the thin faces um, on the edge. Although I think it can be done with um, GNOs. Yeah, it can be done with GNOs. All you have to do is filter the boundary edges that aren't connected to anything. Okay, so I kind of meshed the or messed with the geometry a bit and offset this so that it's kind of ruined. I think we can get this back by smoothing and then flattening. You know, so you can see it can also work with more organic meshes, although it is right now it is more optimized for angular meshes. The more curved the geometry gets or more organic, the less less efficient the paneling layout will be. You will see faces individually split rather than seeing a bunch of faces knitted together to create some panel island pattern. Instead, for example, if you're using a UV sphere, you will see each individual faces split. Okay, so that's the weakness of the setup for now. But much like Random Flow, the original, it will of course be heavily updated. And when I learn more of GeoNodes, then the setup will become more and more and much better. So this is without more detail toggle, which gives me a more relaxed mesh. Go without those tiny little faces, and with more detail, you can see that. And it creates more details by creating those tiny little faces. So this is great for faraway renders. It will really make the ship uh, look convincing because of those tiny details in relation to the bigger details all around it. So this kind of pattern is unique to this setup. I don't think the original random flow walksover can achieve this. It can achieve this, however, the with the more detailed toggle disabled, but with this one, this is GE unique result. Okay, so let's try it with this one. So this is just a really basic base mesh. It's kind of displays the power of the GeoNodes. Now you can just create really basic meshes to populate your concept art scene and actually generate this, create a bunch of this in just a few seconds. Going to add, I'm going to add, so if you duplicate this, it will be the same. I'm going to add another toggle here that will be unique duplicate or something like that. So when you toggle that on, every duplicate you create will have a unique pattern. Okay, so you don't need to duplicate that and change the seed number, duplicate that and change the seed number. You can just toggle the you can just enable the toggle that I told you about. Okay, so more detail using range sub b is 1. Let's put it back to 0. Okay. So all we need is a bunch of geometry. You can play around with um, and also much like random flow, you need quad or tri topology in order for the subdivision to work. The subdivision, I think the subdivision works using GNO. The subdivision works for ingons, but it'll be much better if you use quads or tries, because with ingons you don't know where the edges will actually go, so kind of chaotic. You will see patterns, triangular patterns everywhere. Okay, something like this right here. And as you can see, those little spikes, I've also replicated the effect of the random cells. You can see that in my videos for random flow original or OG. I use random cells to create these spikes to break the profile of the design that I'm using, especially with ships and very large buildings. So all you need to do now is just play around with the basic, really basic mesh, and just add loops to create more details in those areas or in a particular area. Detail, but with more subdivision. Um, so the layers of D is limited to 4 or maxed out at 4, but you can go past this limit by entering a value. But I find that using 5 kind of really slows down the setup. So actually, you can just use 3 at max, and you already have all the detail that you need. You can just increase the main subdivision. But I just set the max to 4. And again, you can go past this by manually entering a higher value like 5. But using 5 will really slow down um, the JNode setup. The JNode setup is very simple, and it's really fast for these settings here, like 2, 3 subdivision or 4. But if it climbs up to 5, it kind of slows down. I don't know why it's up. What's happening? Maybe the something is getting exponential, and that's inside the inner workers of the genome setup, and it's probably causing all the slowdown effects. So less detail and more detail as you climb up. And then you can see the value. And as you can see, we're using no subdivision for layer 2. You can see some of the areas are more relaxed, and that is and as you increase the values for this, you get less and less bigger relaxed areas. So it's really good for just mixing those two areas together. So no detail, and less detail and more detail. Okay, okay, let's just add something here. Let's try and make a hole here. Okay, let's make this an in gun. Oh, there you go. Um, yeah, the subdivision, yeah, doesn't work for an in gun phase. So just qualify this. So an easy way to qualify this is with just using creative flow or random flow OG, the original, mesh, quad slice, and creative flow quad slice as well. There you go. So let's try and make a hole here. It's really good for uh, really just quickly creating designs. Try and scale this, see what happens. Or okay, let's create a different variation. Detail. So two different designs. Just using more detail out. We can boost subdivision two different design by just playing around with the seed value. You can see the difference, the major difference in the this part here, this part here. Now the took was just a simple base mesh. So the add-on will be, of course, there's the add-on will work like this. It will still have the redo panel, but only for adding the um, geonodes modifiers or geonodes in the modifier list. You can initially adjust the settings, and then after the redo panel is overlapped by another command that has a redo that has redo properties, and the controls for that are gone. Then you can go back, just go in the modifiers and quickly change the settings there. Okay, let's try before we end this video, let's try it on View Auto Mirror XY. Oh no, Z and get rid of the Y. So Um, I guess for my part, there wasn't really any choice but to create a GeoNodes edition for this tool because GeoNodes is the future and you can't really fight it. So L and copy modifiers. Can't fight the future by doing this wing. I guess it can work like oh it doesn't have there we go. We need more details here. Line material are for metal. Less detail, but we need more faces here. So all we need to do to control the detail is the amount of detail we input to the mesh is modifying the genode settings and adding or subtracting edges. There you go. A more relaxed version of the detail. I could probably turn this into an add-on in a couple of days. Release it on the store. You can support it. I can release it in its early stage and just you can just support the tool as I develop it. And uh, once you purchase it, much like Random Flow, the updates will be free. Yeah. There's endless possibilities with this. There's probably too much detail right here. There we go. And you have your, I know what this is. Actually, let's try and fix the wing. This vertices. Try to put more details in this one. Some edges in this area to create longer faces. Let's try and compress the detail more. Oops, towards this region. There you go. Let's create an extrusion here. Just a tiny, oops, just a tiny extrusion. That, scale it down, or not. If a randomization issue with higher subdivision or main subdivision that can be fixed later on. All we need is to actually adjust the detail. Now it looks good. There you go. I thought there was a problem, but it was actually the detail bar. So a more relaxed version. And for the secondary or tertiary detail, you can just try it with textures. I think the geometry node or the faces created by geometry nodes inherit the UV map from the source mesh. So if you UV map this, then the UV map also reflects in the faces generated by the geonodes, but only in the top faces. So for example, here in this extruded area here, the UVs are contained in this area right here. So those are inherited from the, or yeah, this area here. These are inherited from the source mesh, but from the faces at the sides generated by the extrusion, this will not have UVs. So um, you kind of like this could work, that could still work for objects that are rendered far away, but for closer objects, you need to have proper UVs for that. Details. Good. You know what? You can just basically play around all day with really basic meshes, and you can come up with the most awesome designs. With this one, created a spike. That's serious. Okay, last extrusion. So there's only one problem I need to tackle for this, and that is with the extrusion. So in Python, or using the random flow original panels, for example, if you increase the depth of the extrusion, you can see that they are evenly extruding. The original for this is with even offset off. So you use this when you see the geometric spike that goes to infinity. You turn the even offset off, and those goes away. Okay, and this there's a toggle for that to keep the offset extrusion even, and that is to make the even offset on. So with geonodes, the extrusion node doesn't have the this toggle. You only have this. Okay. And the problem with this is this actually has a wrap and split method. Okay. So right now you can see that this is using the split method. It's kind of being split at the sharp edges. And it's the same as the cut method using the split cut method in random panels. Okay, so increasing the depth here is no problem. There's no, everything is even. But when you use the wrap method, um, especially for this one, you get uneven depth values. It's like that. So that's my only problem with this one. I'm trying to figure out how to offset the how to offset the extrusion evenly when using the wrapping method. So the details can actually wrap around sharp edges and create a more another. While this is good, I'd like to see the a version of this which actually wraps around sharp edges. So if anyone can help me with that, then feel free to point me to a link or send me the node setup. Or maybe I could probably figure it out in a few days, but it'll be great if I have some help first. Okay. So so it doesn't just uh, work for ships. You can also use this for base meshes for weapons, canisters, cylinders, and all that stuff that you're actually using the random flow original for. Except for it can work for cylinders, but like I said, there's a limitation to the general setup for now. especially for organic models. For random for original, no problems. This can work on all shapes. But at least with this one, you get modularity at least for very angular uh, meshes, which is good because you can iterate designs. I'm also trying to figure out if it's possible to create vertex colors for the final islands. So we have like really unique tip every time you duplicate it. Unique colors for it every time. Okay. So total different design and just for each of the ship by just manipulating the seed value. Okay, so that is it for this video, and hopefully I will be releasing this add-on soon. I just have to figure out a few more operators in order to call it an add-on, an actual add-on. So right now we have random panels, random cells. I hope to also add. I think the adding the screws is easy, and there's a bunch of example for it in the internet already. And the cables, also I'd like to. There's also a bunch of examples for the cables, so I think I can make it work. But yeah, so right now, the easiest ones to replicate are actually random cells and random slice. So random scatter. They're really easy to replicate. So yeah, the advantage of this using the add-on is, of course, of its you can just use it on. You don't have to append or copy anything. You can just use the add-on to click on an object and use the operator and the the JNodes will be added to those objects. So I'm going to add an option where you can choose to um, put the GeoNode setup where it will affect the source mesh without any other um, modifiers affecting it, or after another GeoNode. So the effect of the previous GeoNode will be used by the current current GNO that you're using. So for example, with this spike here, which emulates the random cells, right now it's affecting the result, the randomized panel result, because it's under the panel GNO setup here. But if you put it above the panel, then it will affect the source mesh. So kind of like that. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And showing you the update. Hopefully you get excited about this, and which also will make me excited to finish this faster. Okay. So if you have any questions, use the comment section below or the links on the description. Subscribe and hit notify. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.